Honestly, I think, at some point we got too comfortable. We won so much so fast. We didn't know how to figure it out, once we hit a little frustration. I think that frustration kept on building, and before you know it, now we in the playoffs still trying to figure it out. I think this time around we have to just stay disciplined, and understand, we got to take things day by day.
It seems everybody came into camp maybe coming off of that playoff series with a little bit of a chip on the shoulder. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, most definitely. Nobody want to go out like that, like we did, and it sucks. It was a long summer, especially knowing we could beat a team like that. We beat them all season, and we understood we was a better team than that. So, it definitely ate us alive, and, that's something that we got to play with throughout the whole year.
Did I hear this right? Are you really going to try and trash talk Amir?
Man, I don't think I could do it, man. I don't think I could do it. No way I could talk trash to him, man. It'd be more funny than anything. I wouldn't be able to take it serious. But, like I said, it should be fun just to go out there and compete against him. He know all our games. He know the system. So it should be interesting.
Mark, what do you guys miss from Amir, not even on the floor, but off the floor?
I mean, he brought everything together, man. People don't realize how great of a dude Amir is. He one of them guys to where you could be having the worst day of your life, but if he call you or if he come over, whatever, he gonna brighten your day up some type of way. You would never see Amir upset or mad, anything. The 6 years I played with him, I probably seen him mad twice. That's just the type of person he is.
Is there a better guy setting screens than him?
Huh?
Is there a better guy setting screens on this team than him?
I don't know. Amir was tough with setting screens. He was one of them old school screen setters. He know how to hold your jersey, hold you, all type of stuff. But I'm gonna try to avoid him as much as I can tonight.
Why do you think he was such a fan favorite in Toronto too?
He did everything outside of basketball. He had his little thing where he had roll with Amir. We do little contests on Twitter. Bring fans out to dinner. He was doing everything. He was doing zombie walks. He was doing the most craziest things, and that's his personality. I think people gravitated towards that outside of basketball, and they loved it.
DeMar, picking up a little more of the scoring load, does that excite you for the season going forward?
I mean, that's what I'm labeled as, so I don't. That's my job. I never really look at it like it's a hassle or anything. They look toward me for me to be that scorer. That's fine with me.
Defense is the focus of this team, especially early on, though. What are the parts of your defensive game that you need to work on, that you're focusing on?
Just more communication. Out there on the court, communicating in transition. Whenever, we scout so well, so we know the plays. Just being able to call out a play, try to be a step ahead the team.
You had a decision to make a couple of years ago when you had a contract extension and you wound up make a deal. A lot of people criticized it at the time. Now it looks pretty good. What's your do you ever regret doing that deal? Do you ever think maybe I should have been in
I don't regret anything. Everything happened for a reason, man. Everything. This is the place where I wanted to be, so that's where I wanted to be. I never second guess or think twice about anything.